Coming up, we'll be on location at Nurtured Bones in Great Falls, Virginia, discussing the benefits of utilizing a holistic approach to treating osteoporosis that can help naturally restore your bone density and strength so you can live an active and healthy life with one of this region's top wellness practitioners, Susan Brady. Welcome, Susan. It's a pleasure having you on our program.
Thank you so much for having me as part of your Top Doctors interviews, and I'm really excited to talk about my passion, which is bone health.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of that, let's begin right off the bat, if I may, by asking you if you can please tell us what osteoporosis is for those watching who may not know.
So osteoporosis literally means porous bones. For various reasons, but predominantly due to aging, we begin to lose bone cells. And when we begin to lose bone cells, our bones become porous and they become less dense. And when our bones become less dense, it increases the likelihood that they're going to fracture because they become weak and they become fragile. Predominantly, osteoporosis occurs in women, and one of the reasons for that is because through most of the life of a woman, they produce estrogen, and estrogen is very bone protective and actually helps to keep our bones strong. But when women start to go through menopause and we have a decline in estrogen, then we lose that protection, and that's when we start to actually lose the most amount of bone.
Very interesting.
It is. And so even though osteoporosis is on the rise here in the U.S., it's also on the rise around the world. But what we're seeing here in the U.S. is that 1 in 2 women and 1 in 4 men over the age of 50 have osteoporosis or osteopenia. And osteopenia is actually a precursor to osteoporosis.
Those are significant numbers.
Very significant. And osteoporosis is increasing every single day.
So I understand you are here and you have already been helping so many folks in this region with this problem. Now you offer a holistic approach to treating osteoporosis. Can you please tell us about that? Because you're getting great results from our research and folks we've talked to.
Yes, thank you. So I have a method that I call the BONES method. I have been a physical therapist for 19 years and a holistic health practitioner for the last 13 years. And several years ago, I began seeing an increased number of women coming into my practice with osteoporosis. So I started to really dive into the research on osteoporosis, and I started reading everything I could about bone loss. And what I found was there are 5 key components to preventing bone loss and maintaining bone health as we age. And so I've put those 5 key components together in what I call my BONES method.
And that's all caps, right? B-O-N-E-S.
Yes.
That's the BONES method.
That's the BONES method. And BONES is an acronym. So B stands for balanced nutrition. O stands for optimized digestion. N stands for nurture the mind, body, and soul. E stands for essential exercise, and S stands for smart supplementation.
I love it. Very interesting indeed.
So nutrition is the foundation for our health, and everything you eat and drink on a daily basis can actually build your bones or it can break your bones. But once I get somebody eating properly, I then have to make sure that they're digesting properly. So if you can be eating all the best foods that there are, but if you can't digest the foods and absorb the nutrients and get them to your bones, it's not going to be doing you any good. And nurturing the mind, body, and soul. We're not just physical entities. You know, we are the soul and we are the mind and we are the spirit. So it's really important that we look beyond just our biology and we look at stress reduction and stress management as well.
That's right.
Then exercise. It's not enough just to go out and walk 30 to 40 minutes a day. It's really important that you do impact exercise as well as resistance training and balance training and posture training. In the end, if we want to prevent fractures, we have to prevent falls. So we have to enhance people's balance. And then none of us want to be that little old lady all hunched over walking with a cane. So we have to work on our posture.
Yes, we want to avoid hitting that point in our lives.
We sure do.
If at all possible.
We sure do.
Now, who would you say is a good candidate for the bones method that you offer?
Everybody. But I often do see younger women who perhaps have a mother or a grandmother that has osteoporosis, so they want to prevent that from happening to them in the future. I do see women that have been newly diagnosed with osteoporosis, and maybe their medical doctor has prescribed medications and they want to try a more natural, holistic approach before resorting to medications. Often I see women that have been on the medications but perhaps have had intolerable side effects from the medications, so they want to try a different approach. And frankly, I see a lot of women who have osteoporosis, they take medication, they're doing great, but they want additional bone support.
Yes, indeed. And how do you determine, Susan, when a client comes to you initially, if they're suffering from the loss of bone density, for example? How do you determine that? If they already haven't been diagnosed by a doctor that they have that issue.
So the DEXA scan is the gold standard when it comes to looking at bone mineral density. And because I am not a medical doctor, I cannot order a bone density test, nor do I diagnose osteoporosis. So most people that come to me have already been diagnosed with osteoporosis and actually have a DEXA scan done. I do additional functional testing in my practice. So there's one test, it's a urinalysis that will actually look at how much bone somebody might be currently losing. But I also do digestive stool analysis because your digestion is so important to your overall health that this actually helps me determine, if you're digesting well and if you're absorbing your nutrients. And then the other test I do is a micronutrient test. And this test looks inside the cell itself and will give me a really good idea what nutrients you may be deficient in so that I can then better target a nutrition and supplement program for you.
So I appreciate you letting us know that. And as far as your approach, the bones method, as you mentioned earlier, what would you say are some of the benefits of this approach as opposed to the more traditional options that have already been available?
So because I take a holistic approach and I look at the whole body and the health of the whole person, right off the bat, people start to feel better. They start to feel healthier, they feel stronger, they have more energy. They increase their confidence in their bodies. And then over time, what I see is we're actually able to halt the loss of bone, and in some cases I've actually seen improvements in bone density as well. But what people have to understand is that improving bone density is not a quick and easy fix. So it takes time to see improvements in the DEXA scans and in the bone mineral density.
What I love about your bones method and your approach here at Nurtured Bones is that you really look at each of your clients as a whole person.
Yes.
And that's what we all are, actually.
Yes, we are.
You're not just looking to put a Band-Aid on them, or that you're actually utilizing a very healthy and safe approach that really looks at us as a whole and then helps us really get our lives back together in the direction we need, as opposed to, as you just mentioned, so many things come at us. It's not just bone density issues. It could be, like you said, digestive issues. It could be stress issues. It could be anything in our lives. And that's where you really help with that total wellness approach.
Yes, definitely.
We're now going to hear from a client of Susan's and Nurtured Bones. Welcome, Belina. It's a pleasure having you on our program.
Thank you so much for having me.
We always appreciate it when folks take time in their busy lives to come down and share some of their experiences with us. And on that note, I'd like to begin, if I may, Belina, by having you please tell us what problem or problems were you experiencing that brought you to Susan?
Well, about 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with osteoporosis. And actually at that time, I went to see a specialist. And the specialist wanted to prescribe a variety of different medications. And after reading about the medications, I really wasn't very comfortable with what I was seeing, so I decided to take a more holistic approach and thought maybe that would help.
So after some research, you realized, hey, let me see what else is out there in the alternative arena.
Yes.
That could be more natural and safer, right?
Yes,
as
exactly.
Opposed to medications, which should be avoided at all costs unless we absolutely need them, right?
Right,
and there are situations where we do. But in this case, you looked to see what other options there were. So what happened after that?
So after being diagnosed with osteoporosis by a specialist, I then came to see Susan to have her manage me in a more holistic manner.
It wasn't just regarding the osteoporosis issues. You also, as you just mentioned, came to Susan, and she is helping you with the digestive areas as well as the stress management. So it's really looking at you as the whole person, utilizing a whole person approach, which is one of the major benefits of wellness.
Yes.
And how has that been going for you?
It has been wonderful. She put me, like I said, on a nutrition and exercise program. I'm power walking every day, and I'm doing strengthening exercises as well, also weight training. I have eliminated a lot of foods out of my diet. She's helped me with that, which has been huge in overcoming my obstacles. I don't eat any processed foods anymore. I've eliminated a lot of gluten, some dairy. Sugar, I found, was a huge impact that was causing a lot of issues, brain fog and digestive issues. So yeah, I'm eating a lot of salads and vegetables, and it's going really well. Yeah.
Belina, we're so happy to hear that.
Yes.
Now, before we let you go, Belina, is there anything else you'd like to add or share with our viewers?
Well, I would love to say that coming to Susan has been probably one of the best decisions I have ever made. I think going the holistic route was the best for me, and I would highly recommend Susan to any client, because what she will do is she will take your issues and she will see what the underlying problems are, and she will work with you very closely. She's extremely knowledgeable, and she's also very caring, and she'll work with you until you get your issues resolved.
Well, on that note, Belina, we'd like to thank you for joining us,
thank you.
sharing some of your experiences, and being a guest on our program. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We're now back with Susan. I must say, Belina is very happy with the results, and you really actually helped her, not just with her osteoporosis issues, but you actually helped her, as we just talked about a couple of minutes ago, with other issues as well. You really looked at her as a whole person. Her, as she just said, stress management was reduced. She's power walking again. So that's one example of many of folks that you're helping. You're doing some great work in the community, Susan.
Thank you.
Now, we are literally out of time, but I wanted to ask you, before I let you go, Susan, you and your practice, Nurtured Bones here in Great Falls, Virginia, have established a reputation for excellence. You're one of this region's top holistic and wellness practitioners. You're helping so many folks like Belina and many others in this area. I just wanted to ask you what you feel really helps separate you apart from some others.
Well, I think what helps to separate my practice is that I truly take a holistic, comprehensive approach to bone health as well as total health in a person. There are many nutritionists or dietitians that can prescribe a good dietary program for people with osteoporosis. There are physical therapists and athletic trainers that can put together a good exercise approach, but I put together a complete approach. So it's beyond just exercise and nutrition and taking calcium and vitamin D. I look at digestion, lifestyle, and stress, which are all so critical when it comes to not only the health of your bones, but the health of your body.
Yes, indeed. And on that note, I'd like to thank you, Susan, for joining us, educating us, and being a guest on our program. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure, and we'd love to have you back on in the future.
Okay. Thank you.